everybody. I'm Sherry Shriner, coming to you live. It's Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. If you have any questions for the show tonight, you can send them to SherryTalkRadio at yahoo.com. Or you can go to my website at SherryTalkRadio.com. There's a link on there. If you're going to send me an email, either use the link or if you send it, put quick question for the show in the subject heading so I know that you're sending me an email in regards to the show. Otherwise, I'm just going to skim over them, and I might miss it. It's just been a hectic week. It's been a nice week. Weather's really been nice. Caught up on all the Oregon orders I had to do to get out. So all that's caught up and out of the way right now. I've just been led into various things this week, and a couple of things grabbing my attention, and I had a good time last week on the show, just sitting back, talking, revealing things the Lord wanted me to say, and it's pretty much how all shows are going to go. I'm not really heavily preparing one way or the other for the shows. I'm just showing up, and whatever the Lord wants me to talk about, He'll lead me to it during the day to talk about later during the show. So if you have any questions or comments, you can send them to SherryTalkRadio at yahoo.com. You can also send me an IM. I prefer emails, but the IMs are okay as well. A couple things I want to talk about tonight. I know last week I told you I'd talk about the fake rapture this week, and I'm going to get into that. But I always find it interesting that when I start to feel pulled towards reading somebody else's material that they've written on something, that the Lord always yanks me back away. It's just a matter of time before He will just yank me away from anything that anybody else says. So I find it very interesting. There are some good things out there in regards to a lot of topics out there. And I get nuggets here and there. But he always reminds me to never rely on somebody else's material. And it's just the way he's been working over the years. This week I stumbled on a good website, too, in regards to the National ID card. And I want to talk about that tonight. Because the National ID card, making its headway into America, into this country, in 2008, starting next year. And so, is it a cause of concern? And I think it is. It's almost like a wake-up call, a confirmation. If you've been listening to my shows the last couple of years, remember last year that I made a comment on my show that even if even back then, the Real ID Act, the National ID card was just talk, in the talking stages. And when something's in the talking stage that they're already ready to implement it. Because I was talking to, I think it was Bill Deagle several years ago, and he was telling me that they already had the cards, they're already in the warehouses, they're already ready to go, and this was years ago. And so they're always ready to implement something, even if it just sounds like it's just in the talking stages on our level. On their level, they're already ready to go with it. I remember making a comment during my show that even if, just putting your forehead up to some kind of machine so it could scan your retina, your eye, or just taking your finger and using it for fingerprinting. I remember last year I said this could fulfill what John was trying to describe in Revelation 13. Because imagine being, somebody like the Apostle John, looking ahead into the future, a couple thousand years. He's seeing things that he can't even relate to. The technology, the cities, I don't know how much of a vision he got to see. But just imagine trying to describe something 2,000 years from now. And you would pretty much have to just put it in your own relevant experience of how you could describe it so people could understand you. And that's what he did. But he gives us a sound warning. In Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And he says, "And he caused us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And that was the warning from John about what this Antichrist and false apostle, this false prophet, would be doing in the last days was in regards to the two beasts. And it's the second beast that has all this legislative authority. Like I've always said, it's like the first beast shows up. The first beast is supposed to be the Antichrist. But it's the second beast, the false prophet, that has all the power. He wears two horns. He has dual authority. He has authority over all politics and all religion. And it's the false prophet that will enforce the worship of the first beast, that you worship him as God. Satan's not going to come to earth and say, okay, I'm God, worship me. He's going to have the false prophet say, he's God, worship him. Okay? And so it's the second beast, the false prophet, that has a lot of the authority in the last days. And so I wanted to talk about this because some people say, well, it's this chip that's coming out. And I've seen in the chip, I've seen in the Bible codes this chip implant and stuff like that. It's definitely a route that they can take. But not something that we should be overlooking is the national ID card. Because if this national ID card requires us to put our forehead up against some kind of a device to have our retinal eye scan taken or our fingerprinting, then this could fulfill what this chapter is talking about in the last days. I wanted to read a direct translation because we know that the KJV is a translation of a translation of a translation. And there's an article on the Call the Decision website. It's called Overcoming the Tribulation that begins next year. And that was the article that I posted to my list earlier this week. Somebody sent me the link to it on my other list. I don't agree with everything stated in this article, but what I did find very interesting is that he went through, and I'm going to read this, taken directly from a Greek manuscript and matching up the original Greek words to our own English language of now, as close as possible. And this is the translation he gets of Revelation 13:16. And he appoints everyone, both the least of men and the mighty of men, abundant and pauper, unrestrained citizen and subservient, to bring forth and commit to a badge of servitude with a stamp or etching on it of their right hand or their face. That could perfectly be a license. You know, show some kind of badge, some kind of license, with a stamp or etching on it, or picture, that's another word for etching, of their right hand or their face. And here's another one. And that no person would be able to go to market and gather in public or be busy in trade except he had that badge of servitude with their stamp or etching, and or the authorization of the beast, and or the number of one's own name. The number of your own name, which would be your social security number, folks. So you have this badge of servitude, which would be this national ID card, with an etching, with a picture of you, or etching or imprint of your right hand, or a picture of your face, or of your number of your own name, a social security number. And so very well could be this national ID card that's coming, if this national ID card requires you to have one or the other on it. You know, most churches and people that get caught up in the arguments, oh, was it on or in the right hand or forehead?